Let's talk to Sir Anthony Selden, historian of Downing Street and political biographer. Sir Anthony, very good morning to you.
Hello, Mike. Nice to be on.
Nice to see you. Have you ever seen such an awful government as this?
Well, it's difficult to see that Labour, taking Labour governments in the past, have made such a poor start, Mike, and they seem to be making things worse. It's very unfortunate for the Prime Minister, if you are somebody who's a Labour supporter, to have a relaunch and to say we're now into phase 2, and a day or two after it to have a terrible thing happening for them like Ms Rayner. You couldn't make that up at all.
Right.
I mean, it's really desperate. Look, Mike, if you're if you're Prime Minister, these kind of things are really hard to handle. They are at the very top of the hate list of a Prime Minister when you have a cabinet minister who gets embroiled in a scandal, and if it's your deputy, that's even worse. I mean, Blair had it with Mandelson twice, Cameron had it, Rishi Sunak, last Prime Minister, had it, and most of them think that they can just cling on, that they're not going to give in to the baying media. That will show that they're weak, and they cling on until they're forced to let the person go. So they then both lost the person, but they've also lost some of their political credibility too. And difficult though it is, and particularly with the record of Keir Starmer's own questions on his own integrity, this doesn't have a good look, and probably historians will say that he could have acted more swiftly, or Ms Rayner herself could at least have stepped aside while this was being investigated.
Well, I think that's true, but also there hasn't really been any period since they got in July last year of sort of, there wasn't even really a honeymoon period, because as soon as they got in, the Lord Alley stuff broke, that they'd been in the receipt of, free clothes and glasses and then tickets to concerts and football matches and all the rest of it. So they've never really had any kind of period that you could describe as a success. And we're not just at the beginning anymore. We're now, getting on for, nearly a year and a half in.
Well, absolutely. He did look, the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, did look good as a lawyer dealing with the riots. You remember in the summer of 2024. And,
I don't know if everyone would agree with that. He looked like a man who wanted to crack down on some people and call them all far-right thugs, when clearly that wasn't true.
No, I take that point, Mike, but he was generally seen by many people to have played that one quite well. But since then, a whole number of things have gone wrong. He doesn't seem to have the initiative, and if a Prime Minister doesn't put their stamp on government, then other people will write that script for them. And he's found it really hard to be the author of the slow horses script of Downing Street.
Yeah.
He's found it, you have to be in charge. As Prime Minister, you're either in charge, making the weather, steering the course of the ship, or other people are doing it. Yeah. And this latest episode, even many people in Labour are just wincing at this. I mean, it's either incredibly bad luck or incredibly indecisive leadership.
I think it seems to me they don't have any strategy. I mean, the first thing they did was appoint Sue Gray to be put in charge of the 100 days, the first 100 days of government. And she didn't even last 100 days. She was gone after 93 days. And you think, well, that's not a great start, is it? And so they didn't have a plan.
Mike, as you talked before, the biggest single weakness of any Prime Minister, any leader, any football manager, whatever you're doing, is to come into office and say, look, no, I'm not certain I'm going to get the job. I'm going to hold off. I'm not going to get my people, my appointees sorted out. I'm not going to get my strategy sorted out. I'm going to wait and see. That's terrible. And he was unwilling to learn from history. And now it's much harder when you've lost the initiative. Like for any leader in any job, once you lose the initiative, you lose the confidence of your team and your public, it's really hard to get it back. But you put your finger on, absolutely, as the Prime Minister, he did not have a clear and the right plan, and he didn't put the best people. I mean, there are great people out there who he could be bringing in to strengthen him, and he's somehow reluctant on occasion, often perhaps, to appoint the really best people in the civil service and amongst his ministers, and indeed in Downing Street. So, I'm not saying it's over for him, but I'm just saying he's not making it easy for himself.
And if Angela Rayner does go today, which is looking increasingly likely, that's going to make it next week even worse. You know, next week he was going to have a reshuffle. The whole phase 2 thing came as a bit of a surprise to everybody. He didn't announce that he was going to have a phase 2. We didn't even know there was a phase 1. And it just seems that they lurch from one kind of crisis to another.
Well, that is absolutely what is happening. And he hasn't managed to put his stamp. I mean, to some extent, like great leaders make their own luck.
Yeah.
And he has not been, I mean, to have this happening just after the announcing of phase 2 and everything was going to be up from now onwards, and to have this huge scandal, you know, is that bad luck or is that bad judgment? He could perhaps have anticipated it much more clearly. I mean, leaders have to lead, you know, they have to tell the story. They have to say, this is where we're going, and you have to get people behind you. That means you're going to anger some people, but above all on the economy, as we just heard the Deputy Chair saying, if the Prime Minister, they are First Lord of the Treasury. If they can't have confidence in their management of the economy, then everything else goes wrong.
Yeah. And that's exactly what's happened. And let's face it, Angela Rayner's not the first cabinet member who's going to have to go, because he's already lost his Transport Secretary of State, he lost his corruption minister, he lost his homeless minister for making people homeless. I mean, the hits just keep on coming. You're kind of going, what's going to happen next? So Rachel Reeves has made a complete dog's breakfast of the economy, and she's now going to have the world's latest budget on November the 26th, which isn't going to have any good news in it, and isn't going to help him either.
Well, we hear a lot about the fact he's a strong man. He can be really heartless in his sackings. The best Labour prime ministers, like the post-war Prime Minister Clement Attlee, but they were ruthless, and they just got rid of people early on. They didn't wait. And prime ministers have to be ruthless in appointing and in sacking and in saying, this is where we're going to go. There's no ifs and buts, no excuses. This is the direction for the country. And that is what he hasn't yet done.
And that, I don't think he's
clearly enough.
No, I don't think so. And I don't see any signs of him really doing it. Sir Anthony, good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. Sir Anthony Selden, historian of Downing Street and a political biographer, probably being slightly more generous to Keir Starmer than I would be.